the drumbeat did not fade. It deepened. It sank into the ground like thunder searching for roots. Amarachi felt it inside her bones, an ancient rhythm that didn't belong to the world she understood. Not the world of buses and markets and street lamps. This was older, rawer, the heartbeat of something that had been waiting far too long. Bade stood at the shattered window, his chest rising and falling as he scanned the night outside. The street was silent, lit only by a flickering security lamp. Nothing moved. Nothing breathed. Nothing hinted that a creature made of shadow had just threatened to rip their world apart. Yet the drum continued. Ba-dum. 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 A sound behind the walls, beneath the soil, above the sky. Amarachi sat on the floor, knees pulled to her chest, her glowing palms slowly dimming. She felt empty and full at the same time, drained and awakened, terrified and strangely powerful. Bade, she whispered. Her voice cracked. He turned to her immediately and crouched down, lifting her chin with gentle fingers. I'm here. You're safe. No, she breathed. We're not. His jaw tightened. He knew she was right. The creature had left a warning, no, a prophecy. The gateways will open. The watchers will rise. You will either join us, or be devoured. Amarachi shuddered. Her mother's voice still lingered in her mind like a fading perfume. She wondered if she would ever hear it again. Bade helped her stand, brushing dust and glass from her shoulders. We have to leave this place. Now. But where will we go? He didn't answer immediately. Because he didn't know. The drumbeat grew louder again, then abruptly stopped. The silence afterward was sharp enough to cut. Without warning, the lights in the entire compound flickered off. Darkness swallowed them. Bade cursed under his breath. Not again. But this darkness wasn't alive like earlier. It was simply night. Human night. Still dangerous in its own way. He grabbed Amarachi's hand. Pack what you can. We're leaving in 5 minutes. Her body felt heavy as she moved, like walking through thick mud. But she pushed herself. She couldn't afford to collapse. Not now. Not when the world had shifted beneath her feet. She grabbed her bag, stuffed in her phone charger, a spare shirt, a small bottle of water. The little things you carry when you don't know where you're going but know you must run. Bade grabbed his car keys. Then they heard a knock. Not loud. Not violent. Just 3 soft knocks. Knock. 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 Amarachi froze. Her lungs refused to pull air. Her heart pounded like a trapped animal. No, she whispered. No one could have come so fast. No one. Bade lifted a finger to his lips. Stay behind me. The knocks came again. Still soft. Still patient. As though whoever stood outside wasn't in a hurry. Or didn't need to be. Bade approached the door slowly, silently. The peephole was useless, cracked from the blast of Amarachi's earlier power. So he pressed his ear against the metal. Nothing. Not a sound. He unlocked the first bolt. The second. He stopped at the third. Something felt wrong. Terribly wrong. He stepped back. Amara, your hands. She looked down. And nearly screamed. They were glowing again, without her calling it. Not bright. Not violent. Just a tremor of golden light under her skin, as though the blood beneath her palms burned with secrets. The magic had sensed something. Something outside. Something waiting. Bade, she whispered, terror tightening every word. Don't open it. He nodded and stepped away from the door. The knocks stopped. Silence. A long, unsettling silence. Then. A woman's voice. Soft. Familiar. Amara. Open the door, my daughter. Amarachi's heart stopped. Her mouth fell open. Her breath caught. That voice. She knew that voice. She had heard it humming while plaiting her hair. She had heard it calling her name after nightmares. She had heard it laughing on hot afternoons while cooking stew. She had heard it on the night she said goodbye. Mama! Her voice cracked with heartbreak. Bade grabbed her arm tightly. Amara, no. Don't believe it. Your mother is dead. She stared at the door, tears burning her eyes. But, the voice, it's her. The voice came again, gentle, warm, the voice of protection. Amara. My child. Let me in. Her head spun. What if? Bade's voice was sharp. It's not her. They're trying to trick you. They know who you are now. But Amarachi's emotions betrayed her. The power in her hands flickered again like a heartbeat racing. The voice repeated, this time trembling. Amara, please. I've missed you. She took a step toward the door. Bade blocked her path, grabbing her shoulders. Stop. Listen to me. If you open that door, something will take you, and I may not be able to get you back. A tear slid down Amarachi's cheek. Another knock. More urgent. Amara. Please. I'm cold. Her mother used to say that whenever she wanted Amarachi to fetch a wrapper for her. The memory broke something inside her. Bade, she sobbed. What if it really is her? It isn't. His voice was firm. Unyielding. Afraid. She trembled. Then. Another voice joined in. A deeper one. A male voice. Open this door now. Her heart lurched. She knew that voice too. Bade pulled her back instantly. Who is that? Amarachi whispered, terrified. My father. She collapsed into his chest, shaking uncontrollably. Both her parents. Outside the door. Calling her name. Both dead. Bade held her tight. They're using your memories against you. Don't listen. But Amarachi couldn't stop shaking. Her mother's voice shifted tone, gentler, pleading. Amara, they want to take you away from me. Please open the door, my child. Her father's voice thundered again, knocking harder. Amarachi. Open this door at once. Bade grabbed her face and forced her to look at him. Listen to me. Those things are not your parents. They are mimics. Shadows. They know your weakness. Don't. Open. That. Door. The knocking grew louder. Harder. Amarachi felt her mind splitting between the world she knew and the world that was calling her. Amara. Her mother again. Voice breaking. Crying. Why won't you open for me? Don't you love me? Amarachi screamed, covering her ears. Stop. Please stop. Bade held her, trying to pull her away from the door. But it was too late. Something outside shifted. Something big. Something ancient. The knocking stopped. A new voice, deeper, colder, filled the space between breaths. She is ours. The lights exploded. The walls trembled. A crack crawled across the ceiling. Amarachi felt her power flare uncontrollably. Bade shouted her name. The door handle turned by itself. Slow. Deliberate. Click. Amarachi's glowing palms burst into blinding golden light. The door slammed open. And a black wave of shadow erupted into the room. The shadow did not enter the room like smoke. It attacked. It rolled in like a living storm, solid in one moment, liquid in the next, and then dissolving into spiraling black tendrils that crawled across the walls like a swarm of serpents searching for prey. Amarachi screamed as the force slammed into her chest, lifting her off her feet and hurling her backward. She hit the far wall with a crack that rattled her bones. Amara! Bade roared, diving toward her. But the shadow struck him too. A violent whip of darkness wrapped around his torso, yanking him into the air and slamming him against the ceiling before throwing him across the room. He collided with the wardrobe, splitting it open like paper. He didn't move. Bade! Amarachi gasped, struggling to stand. The shadow storm gathered itself, rising like a pillar in the center of the room. From within its swirling mass, eyes opened, multiple, glowing, blinking in different rhythms, like a constellation from a dark universe. A voice rose from its depths, layered like 20 beings speaking together. Watcherborn, your time has come. Amarachi staggered backward. The wall pressed cold against her spine. Her palms glowed again, but the light was weak, flickering like a candle in a storm. I'm not going anywhere with you, she shouted, though her voice shook. The shadow eyes all turned toward her. You don't understand your purpose. But we do. It stretched forward, a long, thin tendril reaching for her face. Its tip hovered inches from her cheek, vibrating with hunger. Touch me and die, Amarachi whispered, though she barely believed her own threat. The tendril quivered, almost amused. Then it rushed for her throat. Her palms flared. Golden light shot forward in a desperate burst. The shadow recoiled with a high-pitched screech, its form fragmenting into shards of darkness that spun violently around the room. The windows cracked again. The lights blew. The floor trembled. Her power shook the whole building. When the light faded, Amarachi collapsed to her knees, panting. The shadow began to reform, slower this time, like a wounded creature struggling against its own rage. But something else happened too. From the open doorway, a cold wind swept into the room. A whisper rode upon it. A woman's whisper. Soft. Familiar. Amara, get up. Amarachi's breath caught. Her mother again. But this voice wasn't trying to trick her. It wasn't calling from outside. It wasn't imitating memory. It was speaking from inside her mind. Mom! Amarachi whispered. The whisper warmed. Comforting. Protective. You must not be afraid. I am here. I am always here. The shadow let out a furious rumble. Its many eyes turned toward Amarachi again, narrowing like a beast recognizing prey, no, recognizing a threat. She interferes, the shadow hissed. Even in death, she defies us. A pulse of golden energy rippled across Amarachi's skin. Her palms glowed brighter. Her heartbeat synced with something beyond her control. She rose slowly. Her fear drained from her limbs, replaced by heat, by fire, by a presence wrapping around her like invisible arms. Her mother's voice whispered again. You were born with what I could never control. Now you must use it. The shadow surged, growing in size until it almost filled the room. Give her to us, it roared. Amarachi stepped back. Her feet trembled. But she didn't fall. Her mother whispered. Do not run. The shadow lunged. And Amarachi lifted her hand. A golden wave of force exploded outward, blasting the creature back into the corridor. The walls cracked. The doorframe split. The hallway lights shattered. The creature slammed against the far wall, its body tearing like cloth caught in a hurricane. But this time, Amarachi didn't collapse. She stood fast. Breathing hard. Shaking. Alive. The creature reformed slower than before. Its many eyes dimmed, confused, disoriented. Impossible, it growled. Your lineage should have died with her. Amarachi's voice steadied. What are you talking about? What lineage? The shadow pulsed angrily. You are the last daughter of the first Watcher. The room shook with the weight of the revelation. Amarachi felt something inside her chest twist, like a lock turning after years stuck in place. My mother, she never told me anything like that. She hid you. She lied to protect you. The voice shifted, angrier now. And she stole something from us. Something sacred. Something we will reclaim through you. Another blast of darkness shot across the room. Amarachi dodged barely in time. A second tendril ripped through the tiles where she had stood. Bade groaned from across the room. He was waking. Slowly. Painfully. Amarachi, his voice slurred. The shadow turned toward him. Amarachi's heart seized. No! Leave him alone. He interferes, the creature snarled. He must be removed. A tendril lashed toward him. Faster than she could think. Amarachi screamed. Her glowing palms shot forward. A golden shield burst from her hands, wrapping around Bade like a dome. The tendril struck it and ricocheted backward with a violent crack. Bade blinked, stunned and confused. Amara, what is happening? She didn't answer. Couldn't answer. She stepped in front of him, rage burning hotter than fear. The creature regrouped, its form swirling, enraged, unstable. Then its voice shifted. Calmer. Colder. More purposeful. You cannot stop what you are. You cannot stop what we are. It began to dissolve into smoke. Receding. Retreating. But not in defeat. In promise. The gateways open in 3 nights. The walls hummed with the echo of its voice. When the lunar veil breaks, we will return for you. A final pair of ember eyes burned at her from the swirling darkness. Prepare yourself, Watcher child. Then the shadow vanished. Silent. Total. Gone. But the room did not return to normal. Not truly. A crack had formed across the ceiling. Her golden light still glowed faintly. The air felt thinner, heavier, like a world holding its breath. Bade crawled to her and grabbed her arms. Amara, are you hurt? She shook her head numbly. His hand trembled as he touched her cheek. Talk to me. What did that thing want? Why did it know your name? What did it mean about your mother? Amarachi looked up at him. Her voice broke. Bade. I think my mother was part of something she never told me about. He swallowed. And you? Her hands glowed again, unbidden. Frightening. Beautiful. I think. I'm part of it too. Bade pulled her into his arms, holding her as though she might vanish. She buried her face in his shoulder, trembling. The night wind blew through the shattered window. Somewhere in the distance, the drum began again. Slow. Heavy. Counting down. 3 nights. And Amarachi knew instinctively. Whatever was coming next was bigger. Darker. Older. And coming straight for her. The darkness recoiled, folding into itself like a living creature that had just recognized a superior predator. Zara stood still for a moment, letting the night settle around her. The old corridor of the abandoned compound was lit only by faint moonlight slipping through broken windows, painting long silver stripes across the dusty floorboards. Her heart beat steadily, too steadily. It wasn't normal. Nothing tonight was normal. Behind her, Kamsi whispered, voice trembling but steady enough to move them forward. Where do we go now? Zara didn't turn. She pointed toward the inner chambers of the old servants' quarters. There, she said, her voice strangely calm. That's where the memory is strongest. Tarek exchanged a look with Kamsi, half confusion, half fear. Memory, he asked. How can a place have memory? Zara walked on, barefoot steps almost soundless. Every place remembers, she murmured. But only when something refuses to be forgotten. The moonlight flickered against peeling walls, revealing hurried chalk markings, old symbols, drawn decades ago, now cracked but still pulsing with a faint residue of power. The air thickened as they approached. Tarek placed a hand on the wall. It feels warm, he whispered. Zara nodded without looking back. They tried to seal something in. And it didn't work? Kansi asked. Zara stopped. The corridor fell unnaturally still. No, she said quietly. It didn't work at all. The room that waited too long. When they reached the final door, they realized it was already open, as if someone had left in a hurry, or as if something had walked out. The wooden doorframe sagged, swollen from years of rain, but the air behind it was unnaturally dry. And cold. Zara stepped inside. The others followed reluctantly. The room was almost empty except for a rusted iron trunk in the center. A circle of blackened candle stubs. Scratches on the floor as though something had been dragged. Tarek crouched beside the iron trunk. This is old, he said. Maybe older than the house. Kansi shivered. It looks like a coffin. Zara shook her head. Not for a body. She knelt beside it, placing her palm on the lid. Instantly, the candles flickered despite having no flame. A faint vibration pulsed through the floor. Kansi stepped back. Zara, what are you doing? Listening, she whispered. It's been waiting. The iron trunk clicked. Once. Twice. Then silence. Tarek swallowed hard. I don't want it to open. It doesn't want to open either, Zara replied. Not yet. She stood and turned toward the wall opposite the trunk. That's when she noticed it. A mural drawn in charcoal and faded paint. 3 figures. 1, a girl with bright eyes. 2, a shadow beside her. 3, and a tall figure behind them, both, face erased, washed out by time. Zara approached it slowly. The girl in the mural looked frighteningly familiar. Is that, Kansi began. Zara touched the drawing. The wall breathed. A distant whisper drifted through the room like wind crawling beneath old doors. Sister. Kansi froze. Tarek, please tell me you heard that. Tarek shook his head violently. No. No, no, no. I didn't hear anything. Zara did. She heard far more than the whisper. She heard a heartbeat behind the wall. She pressed her fingers harder against the cold surface. Thump. 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 Slow. Heavy. Patient. Waiting. The story of the other girl. Tarek touched Zara's shoulder. What's going on? What are we even looking for? Zara didn't turn. The girl, she said softly. The one we keep seeing in dreams. The one the shadows follow. Kansi's eyes widened. The girl that disappeared decades ago? Zara nodded. This is her room. The heartbeat grew stronger. Thump. 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 Zara, Tarek whispered, whatever is behind that wall, it's alive. No, Zara corrected. It's awake. The chalk circle. Suddenly the candle stubs burst into flame, silent, eerie blue flames that floated above the blackened wicks. The entire room glowed faintly, shadows stretching unnaturally long. Kansi grabbed Zara's hand. We need to leave. Right now. Instead of panic, Zara felt an odd pull, like someone tugging gently on her spirit. She wants to show us something, Zara murmured. Who? Tarek demanded. The missing girl? Or something else? Zara didn't answer. She traced her foot along the faded chalk circle around the trunk. The flames brightened. A cold wind swept through the room. The shadows on the walls twisted into shapes. One looked like a crouching beast. Another looked like a woman kneeling. And the third, tall, head bowed, resembled the erased figure in the mural. Kansi's breath hitched. That's her family, isn't it? Zara stepped into the circle. The room trembled. The heartbeat stopped. Silence. Then. The wall cracked. Just a hairline fracture. But enough. A whisper seeped out like smoke. "Help, me." Tarek stumbled backward, slamming against the door. "Nope. No. Zara, get out of the circle." Zara knelt, placing both palms inside the chalk ring. "I'm not here to hurt you," she whispered to the unseen presence. "I'm here because you called." Kamsi pulled Tarek toward the exit. "Let her finish. We can't drag her out, it'll be worse." Zara closed her eyes. And then she saw it. The visions. A flash of white. A girl running barefoot through the same corridor, laughing. Free. A man calling after her. A woman crying. A shadow creeping along the floor. Another flash. Ritual symbols. Desperate chants. An explosion of dark smoke. Screaming. The girl's voice, small, terrified. "Don't let him out." Then darkness. The vision snapped. Zara gasped, gripping the dusty floor. Kamsi ran to her. "What did you see?" Zara slowly lifted her head. Her eyes shimmered, not with fear, but realization. "She wasn't trapped," Zara said. "She was protecting us." Tarek frowned. "Protecting us from what?" Zara's gaze drifted toward the cracked wall. "The tall figure," she whispered. "The one whose face was erased." The room temperature dropped instantly. Cold enough to bite. Cold enough to warn. The faceless one. The wall cracked further, spider webbing across the charcoal mural. The tall figure began to distort, its outline shifting, stretching, filling the room with a deep, ancient dread. Kamsi screamed as a shadow peeled itself off the wall. Tarek yanked her behind him. "What is that?" Zara's voice was barely a whisper. "The one the girl tried to seal away. The one that survived. The one that followed us here." The shadow rose taller, towering until its head brushed the ceiling. And then it bent down. Slowly. Deliberately. As though greeting an old friend. The flames flickered violently. The iron trunk rattled. And the shadow's voice slithered through the room. "Daughter, you've returned." Zara's blood ran cold. Kamsi choked out. "Daughter?" "Zara, what is it talking about?" Zara tried to speak, but her throat closed. Because she finally understood. The visions. The girl. The pull. The fear. The whisper calling her sister. And the tall faceless thing calling her daughter. Zara staggered back. I'm not her," she whispered. "I'm not your." The shadow glided toward her, impossibly smooth. "You carry her blood." Kamsi screamed. Tarek grabbed Zara's arm. The walls shook violently. The candles exploded into sparks. The shadow reached out. And the floor beneath them cracked open like a mouth. Zara fell first. Kamsi grabbed her hand. Tarek grabbed Kamsi. The shadow's voice roared. "Come back to me." And the three of them plunged into darkness. They fell. Not through normal darkness, no. This was a darkness that moved, a darkness with weight, a darkness that whispered as it swallowed them whole. Zara felt wind rush past her ears, but there was no sensation of gravity. No ground rushing up. Just endless falling, as though the world beneath had stretched into an abyss. Kamsi screamed somewhere to her left. Tarek's breathless curse echoed to her right. But Zara only felt a tug on her spirit, a pull deeper than the physical fall. Something was calling her downward, urging her, claiming her. The faceless one. The bloodline she never knew she had. The past she never asked for. The darkness thickened, almost fluid, wrapping around her limbs like cold silk. Then they hit something. Not painfully. Not like crashing. More like landing on a giant, breathing cushion of air. Zara gasped, rolling onto her back. Kamsi landed beside her with a choked sob. Tarek fell last, thudding onto the strange surface and groaning loudly. I swear, if we survive this, I'm suing somebody. His voice echoed. 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 Zara sat up. They weren't on floorboards. Not concrete. Not soil. They were lying on fog. Thick, white fog shaped like ground, swirling softly beneath their weight but firm enough to hold them. Beneath the fog, she sensed more depth, like a vast chasm waiting far below. Kamsi clutched Zara's arm. Where are we? Zara shook her head. But a whisper floated from the darkness before she could speak. Home. The hall of no doors. As the fog shifted, shapes emerged. A corridor long, endless, and smooth stretched out in both directions, lit by faint blue pulsations that came from the walls themselves. There were no windows. No doors. No markings except smooth stone carved with swirling symbols that looked older than memory. Tarek rubbed his arms. This doesn't feel underground. It isn't, Zara murmured. Kamsi stared at her. How do you know? Zara swallowed. Because it feels familiar. Tarek shot her a sharp look. Zara, familiar how? Like déjà vu familiar, or like your soul has been here before and something horrible happened familiar? Zara didn't answer. Because the truth was frightening. This place hummed with recognition like a childhood lullaby coming from behind walls, soft and haunting. She stood, steadying herself on the fog floor. We need to move. Staying here is worse. Before anyone argued, the ground trembled. A ripple moved across the fog. Followed by a cough. Then a groan. Kamsi stiffened. Did you hear that? Tarek turned slowly. Please tell me that was your stomach. It wasn't. A figure was forming behind them, rising from the fog like a drowned memory. Zara stepped forward. Wait. Don't move. The shape solidified into a small silhouette. A girl. Barefoot. Wearing an old white shift dress. Hair covering her face. Kamsi grabbed Tarek's arm. No. Oh no. Not her. Zara, if that's the missing girl. Zara shook her head. It's not her. The girl lifted her head. Her eyes were white. Completely white. And when she spoke, her voice was both childlike and ancient. You came too late. The warning child. Tarek backed up so fast he slipped on the fog. Zara, why is a ghost child talking to us? Zara stepped closer. What do you mean, too late? The girl tilted her head slightly. He is free. The corridor lights flickered violently. He waited for you. He heard your blood. She pointed at Zara. And now he walks the lower ways. Kamsi's voice cracked. Who? The ghost child's answer was barely a whisper, but it hit like a cold blade. The faceless one. Silence. Then the fog floor shook again, harder. The ghost child looked behind her nervously. I shouldn't be speaking to you. He listens. Zara knelt, trying to meet the child's vacant eyes. What do we do? How do we stop him? You can't stop him, the child whispered. But you can delay him. Kamsi nearly cried. We don't want to delay anything. We want to escape. The girl turned sharply. Her white eyes narrowed. You can't escape. Another earthquake-like shudder traveled beneath them. He has been waiting for his daughter's return for a very long time. Zara's breath caught. I am. Not. His. Daughter. The girl's expression softened, almost pitying. You carry her gift. Tarek rubbed his temples in frustration. Zara, please tell me she's talking in riddles. But Zara knew. She wasn't. The visions hadn't been illusions. They had been memories. Not hers, but someone's whose blood ran in her veins. The child's voice turned urgent. You must find the mirror chamber before he finds you. She pointed down the left corridor. Go. Now. Why? Zara asked. Because he hates mirrors. The girl's voice dropped lower. They remind him of the face he lost. A roar thundered through the corridor. Deep. Monstrous. Close. The child shrieked. Run. The pursuit. They ran. Kamsi first, sprinting with wild terror. Tariq next, dragging Zara by the wrist. Zara last, her heart hammering in time with the growing roar behind them. The corridor stretched endlessly, but the blue pulsations brightened, guiding them like veins of light. Behind them, something massive slammed into the fog floor. Boom. Another. Boom. Kamsi screamed, he's gaining. Tariq didn't look back. Just run. The fog beneath their feet rippled under the weight of the pursuit. Then. A breath. Hot. Rancid. Enormous. Brushed the back of Zara's neck. She stumbled. Tariq grabbed her arm. Zara. She turned.